I have just had an email that made me all warm and fuzzy inside. It was pretty cool. And it was from a trainer called Neville. And he sent me an email and he said, "Oh my goodness, I have just found my first ever video that I did as a trainer, my first presentation, and it was 11 years ago." And when he had gone through the Trainer's Ultimate Toolkit program with me, he sent me this tiny 10-minute video for feedback, and it was his first ever training presentation because he wanted to get into training. And I remember it so well, even though it was 11 years ago. And he said it was hysterical finding this footage from so long ago when he was just starting out with baby steps. And it's absolutely fantastic for me, and it really warms my heart to think that that was 11 years ago, and now he is the phenomenal trainer that really is the best of the best out there. And he's worked hard, yes, he has, but he's done it in that I worked with him and helped him to get his own training business to take shape. And now he earns considerably more than he ever did as a retail manager that he was when he first started out. But also he's got that fulfillment that he's doing what he loves each and every day. He is so thrilled, and he's positioned himself really well for the future. He's got a wife and 3 gorgeous daughters, and I'm so proud to have been part of helping him to take those steps and to give him guidance, because at the beginning he did not know what to do for effective training. He didn't know how to position or market himself, and I guided him and took him through those steps to where he is now. And I'm blessed. That's my life's calling, is to be able to do that for people who are meant to be trainers and successful trainers in their own right. And that is very cool. So I've asked him to send me that so that I can go over it. It'd be so cute looking back, because Neville has still been part of our gorgeous community. He's stayed within the WeTrain Institute, and he's been part of that family for all 11 years as he grew and continued to step up and make his training even more successful. And that's been a beautiful part of it. And I thought I'd share with you an interesting insight into, just last week, he and I were having a conversation, very much professional to professional. We were discussing a leadership course, a 2-day leadership course that he had coming up. And he was running past with me what to do with a practical question about the workbook. And I thought, hey, that's cool. I'll tell you what we actually discussed, because you'll see why it's important to get it right. And it's a good learning to be able to share with you, just as I did with him. So in the first workbook, being a 2-day, he had dividers that said day 1 and then day 2. And that's great, and it made it look graphically appealing because we had this nice divider in the workbook. But my gut told me, and the particular group that he was working with, they have done a 360 analysis, and part of it at the beginning, he needed to go through that and see how they were with the results and to build on the training from the gaps that were found in the 360. So it's great, really practical stuff for a leadership team. But the leadership team have got issues. They are finding it tricky. 2 people we weren't really even sure would be able to be in the room together, because they don't get on to such an extent that we were worried it was going to be very volatile. So let's just put it this way, that there were things going on with this particular group. And for that reason, I gave him the advice to take out those dividers of day 1 and day 2. Now, as a trainer, of course, you've always got your day plan and you know where you're going to get to and you know your timing and your exercises, and that's great. However, something told me that something might blow out on day one. And if you needed to spend more time and really go over some concepts, then it never looks so professional when you're like, oh, sorry, we've only got to this page. Tomorrow we're going to have to go really quickly to get to where we should have got to for the end of day one. Because it's going to be very obvious in the workbook where your day one was meant to end. And as a trainer, it's better to give the room what they need when they need it. So if they're asking questions, things like that, you want to give them the learning and establish each part of what you're teaching before you move on to the next. And so you don't want to rush through everything simply because, oh my goodness, I told myself I was going to get to that part at the end of day one. So the conversation went backwards and forwards, really as professional trainers talking about the pros and cons of each. And we decided to take the dividers out so that it's one workbook for the 2 days. But I said to him that gives him a lot more flexibility to get to where he needs to on day one. And then, of course, evaluate that against his plan and say, do I have to catch up? Am I at the right spot? What can I do tomorrow with the exercises to make sure that I get back on track? And it's a subtle thing like that that's going to make him look very professional when delivering the 2 days of training, because no one's thinking, oh, the trainer got it wrong. The trainer didn't get to where they were meant to get to in the plan. So for workbooks and for agendas, it's often a good idea to have them as bullets and to say, this is what we're going to cover over the 2 days. But I think it's a little bit risky to say, this is exactly what we're going to cover and then have to make sure that you get there. Even if your framework is there, you've got your great trainer guide, of course, helping you to know where you want to get to. But part of professionalism is being able to get the group to where they need to be without feeling out of time or that you're controlling the group too much. It needs to feel fluid and natural, and great trainers can do that very naturally with their timing. So that was the conversation that Neville and I had last week, and then he sent me the email to go, oh my goodness, I've just found my very first presentation. And it was beautiful because it felt so complete from where he had started to simply the perfecting what he needed to do and to carry a challenging group on a leadership training for 2 days. I am incredibly proud of what he is able to do and continues to do. So if you want to be like Neville, it's doable, it's possible. Please don't only think, oh, I'd love to get into it. It's something I've always wanted to do, but I don't know how, because Neville didn't know how either. And he thought, hold on, what are the first steps that I can take? So I am running a masterclass this week. If you want to come and check it out and see what it's all about and learn some gold that I would have shared with Neville and with hundreds of others of trainers that I've put through training over the last 11 years, then please register for the mastermind, the masterclass. Check it out. Come. You've got nothing to lose to learn for an hour with me. I would love to have you there and to share all that I can in the masterclass. So register. The details are in this group. You'll be able to see them. And I really look forward to having you live on the masterclass with me. Okay, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.